3, 2, 1.
That's why I was recording. Welcome back to another episode of A Product of Proverbs. Today, I guess we have a wrap-up special. I've been here in Atlanta for the past 2 weeks, and we've recorded about 9 hours of podcasting. We actually did about 9 hours of podcasting, recorded about 6. I wish the mics was on because it was some good talks going on. But in the other episodes, we went through a 30 for 30. I just down a list of the top things that I kind of noticed or lessons that I learned before I turned 30 years old. They could apply to older and younger people. But those are just going through the who, what, when, where, and why of just life, you know? Who you are, what you do, when you get the things and the rewards for what you do, why you do the things you do, and then where you do them, your environment. And it's just a lot of wisdom packed into those episodes. But now we're coming for more of a low-key, just regular conversation. Of course, it'll be wisdom in there, but it's more so just to catch up and the overall flow of what's been going on in Austin, what's been going on back here in Atlanta these last few weeks. So we had the first annual A Product of Proverbs golf outing. I came out here on official business to take care of some things, and we took care of that. We booked off some tee times at Legacy Links, which is the golf course that I learned to play golf at. So back in COVID, I took my lessons there and then probably played 80% of my rounds on those 2 small executive courses. So Legacy is a par 3, probably about a par 58. I think it's all par 3s with maybe 2 or 3 par 4s. And then Fox Creek right beside it is similar, but it has 1 par 5 and maybe a couple more par 4s. So very, very easy courses, much easier than I've been playing out in Texas. So had a lot of fun and also much better weather than in Texas. I've played golf in 107 degrees. So at 8 a.m., probably 73 degrees outside.
Yeah.
You don't need a hat. You don't need sunglasses. You don't need a jacket. You're not going to sweat. It was just ideal conditions and an ideal round of golf. So how was it getting back out there on the course for the first time in 30 years, Leroy?
Yeah, probably 30 years or close to it. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. It was good. I was thinking about the fact that we were all out there, all 5 of us, and I'll never forget, it took my mind back to one night I was watching golf on television, and I happened to see a family out there. And this is when y'all was like very small. I think you might have been 5 or 6, Daniel 4, Matthew 1. And I said, this is something we can do as a family. And I remember that one time, I took you out there and you lasted about a round.
Yeah.
I mean,
about
one hole.
Yeah, I think I had baby legs. You got me walking a full course with clubs and baby legs.
But, and so when y'all started playing sports, of course, I didn't play any more golf. And to get back out there was kind of fun. And it was very emotional to see us all out there as a family. And my mind went back to that night I was watching that. And I said, here we are as a family out on the golf course.
That's that delayed gratification.
Yeah, it was nice.
You had golf as a hobby and something that you were interested in, something you liked, and then you sat that to the side for the family. And we played baseball, which is so close to golf. Out there when I'm golfing, you'll find most young golfers are also baseball players. Just the similarities of the club, the bag, like a bat. And you know the baseball bag, you carry all your stuff in, the golf bag. You got a glove for golf, like the batting glove. You got the hat. The outfit's kind of similar. Instead of the buttons, you just got a little polo, some pants, and cleats,
shoes,
and golf shoes.
Right, shoes.
So similar to baseball. I think that's another reason I like it so much. But you led us and coached us in baseball, and then 25 years later, after we don't play baseball anymore, after all that hard work, after everything that paid off to put us in the positions in life, now we all out there playing golf. Your sons bought you a golf bag.
Yeah.
Hooked you up, and we went out to the driving range, practiced, got you right with some lessons real quick, and y'all should have seen it. Actually, you can see it on the Instagram. There's some pictures. If you can find Mom's Facebook, there's also some stuff out there too, I think. And also, we just got those for our own memories because Mom was out there, so what we did was we bought out 2 tee times. So nobody was really behind us, and we were the first one in the morning. And one of those tee times on the back one that was empty, we gave Mom, technically, so she was one of the players, but she was just riding along and with her camera out there and taking pictures, and we're joking and laughing. And y'all would be so surprised how well we did as a unit. We ran through that golf course so fast. I didn't lose a single ball all 18. Daniel only lost one. You only lost one, didn't you?
I lost 2.
Think about that. 2 on your first round in 25 years. When I started playing golf, you lose 18 balls in a round. So that was a lot of fun, and I have to put it on wax that I played the best round of golf that I ever played in my life. I don't think I'll ever do that again because there's a lot of conditions that come together to make it. But 2 over par is crazy. When I think about it and look at it, granted, super short course, so home field advantage. Again, I played 80% of my golf rounds at that course, so I kind of know it like the back of my hand. But just the fact that from when I started, remembering how I got around that course to today, how after kind of weekly practice and more intention, how easily I got around the course, it's good to see growth and progression.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing growth and progression as you practice and get around the courses the next time when we come to the Youth Explosion golf tournament next year. Next time when we show up, I got to watch out for that Fowler team because we're going to make sure Daniel and Matthew hit the driving range too. We're going to teach them how to practice. And that was fun. I kind of transitioning and thinking about the Youth Explosion, church and things. One thing that I've thought about and I've noticed since I've been home this time, y'all spend a lot of time in Cursillo. Meetings, engagements, even outside of Cursillo, things that people from Cursillo invite you to and do. I was thinking about how that's very similar to what I do in Austin with my small group.
Mm-hmm.
So as opposed to like the whole church family and everybody from Bible study, everybody from church on Sundays, you have a smaller group of people that work together. We do community service together. We meet together. Even like you have certain cookouts or events together. And the importance of that, because I think that's something that a lot of people in church might not take advantage of. And then also it's something that I think it's a big benefit, especially in larger churches where people often feel overwhelmed. And you hear about like, oh, if I'm at a mega church or if I'm at a big church where I'm just a number in the crowd. Well, if you're in a small group, you're not just a number. You're in that group. You're important to that group of people. And there's also connections that can happen from there. Maybe someone in your small group is close with someone from over there that gets you connected in other ministries. And so how have you seen that in church?
Small groups are very important for your churches. And that's how a mega church can still feel relational, because it's about relationship. You don't really think about it, but even in a small church, all churches are set up in small groups. Mm-hmm. Like your Sunday school, your different Sunday school classes, your Bible study, your different classes. All of those are actually small groups. And that's a chance for you to really get to know one another and become more of a family. And when all the small groups are together in the church, then everybody's family, and everybody feel like a family. So that's a good thing. And that's one of the things we fail to understand, the importance of relationship. And that's what it is, relationship building. We are made for that, and community.
Yeah, I think that's the transition, or the biggest thing that's made Austin more comfortable is church and the community of it. Because that first year, it was, where are all the black people? Then the second year, it was, oh, they're at church. And it's interesting because it's so little of us out there in Austin, like population-wise, that church would be a place where most of them are. And even like the church I'm a member of now, I kind of tested or visited another church before. They work together. Like they have joint events. And so the church family, it's almost like your small C church is like a cousin to the other small C church and the big church in the community. So all the black people are probably going to be somewhere tied to the church, or at least the ones you probably want to be tied to. That's what I was talking to Pastor V about, was like, hey, now that you're on the right path and doing the right thing, how do you balance the world and hanging out with the Mary Magdalenes and the sinners and the not being too much of a Pharisee, but also trying to keep good company and having good disciples and good-hearted people around you? And he's like, just you can go out and you can do things, but also you can go out and do things with church people. And you can do things with Christians that aren't church people. And that's the thing that I think stood out was the Christians that aren't church people. It seems like you could accidentally only link up with church member people and not Christians that could then become church member people because you hang out with them, you circle with them. If you only meet with the small groups, because that's what I found myself in a trap in, is only meeting with the small groups, only Bible study or these couple people. And it's like, actually I found a way to invite people that wasn't church people to the church, bring people to Bible study with you, do certain things. So
I think that's what we're supposed to do. That is a trap to just get caught up in your small circle. But how can we reach people if we don't know people? It's hard to get someone to trust you that don't know you. And that's what happens a lot of times. You should have friends and associations that are not a part of your church group, because if you don't, your circle will get very small. And we're called to go, and that is, as we are going, we make disciples. So when you go, even with non-church people or even non-Christians, you'll be in a light and you'll get an opportunity to even lead. So that's what we should be doing. And don't feel like you're not being, sometimes we think we just got to associate with our Christian communities and friends, but that's not so.
And also be a Christian at work as well.
Yeah.
And it's funny that somebody said, don't tell them you're a Christian. Just be a Christian first and then let them see you do good and then say you're a Christian, because what we'll do is we'll go to work and say we're a Christian, but then we'll have attitude. Then we'll be gossiping. Then we'll be doing all the negative things, bringing a bad light to Christianity. Go and just be good. And when they ask, why he good? Because Jesus, because Christian. In these corporate environments, I know on the other podcasts we had a lot about entrepreneurship, but grass ain't always greener on either side. You're going to have to water it, because it's going to be things that come up and really throw you off with these kind of major moves that get made. And the bigger the organizations, the more stresses that come. So just thinking about work, when you going to make that
call to,
I'm done, I'm out of there.
Oh, I don't know.
How much they got to stress you out for you to leave? Or is it not even about they stress? It's just about whenever you say, I'm ready.
I think it's when I'm ready, because my stress is wanting to do a good job. And that's just kind of how I am. And sometimes the corporations put you in a place where you can't do as good a job as you would like to. What I'm having to deal with is accepting the fact that I can only work with what I got to work with. Mm-hmm. And so I'm kind of disconnecting. But when I feel like it's time to go, I'll go. I'll make that call. I don't want to make it out of frustration.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be a peaceful thing where I just know it's time to go, and then everything will be right. I've been very cautious about making decisions in haste and with mixed emotions and the wrong attitude, because sometimes that's the wrong decision to make at that time.
I can think about a time when I made a hasty decision that ended up being a little costly around cars. The Jeep Wrangler right after the Corvette accident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even before that, to get the Infiniti after that lady backed into me in my white Mustang. Because it's like when you're frustrated about something and you go do something about it, it's better to just let the frustration die down. If you still want to go do something, you can do it, but
right,
you can't just do it in the heat of whatever it is. So I don't know if y'all even care about cars out there, but something you like is a lot more about from the driver's seat out than like an outside person looking in.
Yes.
Because from the driver's seat out, depending on if it's your interior color, your technology, your transmission, that's what you drive all the time. That's what you see. You want to make sure you're comfortable, your seats, what people see really, it fly by them. They don't even see it that long, but you in here for hours. Yeah. So quality of life cost. I like that.
And it can't be about what people see.
Yeah.
That would be a big mistake, to do what you do based on what people say and what people see. That's what I like about you and the things that you get and the things that you do. It's not about impressing anybody. It's just things that you like. Because at the end of the day, you live with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Nobody else. And a lot of people make the mistake of trying to impress people. Let me just tell you something about that. You don't impress people. People don't care. The people that care will care regardless. And the people that don't, so what?
So what?
Live your life. I would tell you to do that. Because you'll be miserable trying to live up to somebody else's expectation or approval. Live your life.
Yeah, that's the number one thing I learned in Austin, because it's very different out there than it is here. I think it's, after 2 years, I honestly think that it's the lack of like that hip hop music and rap music. I hate to sound old and that's a racist sounding statement, but like, it's the hip hop music, because in Atlanta, this is the hip hop capital.
Mm-hmm.
So we see all of these artists come up and we grow with these artists, and you see these artists around. Like when we was in middle school, we'd see Gucci Mane at Lenox Mall. And it's like when we're running around and you're at concerts and you're on campus and you're at parties and they're showing up to clubs, and it's all around you. And the music is here because it's on the radio. And it's here because it's at the parties. But out there in Austin, it's not at the parties, because we're such a minor, like, what is that? We're such a small percentage of the population. It's not our music that get played out there. And I can't think of an Austin rapper ever. Houston would be Texas rap place. For Austin, it's like, it's just not a rap scene, so those kids don't always have rap music in their ear. They don't always see rap music in everything. There's more of just life. And you can hear it in how they talk and how people dress, and it flows into the lack of impressing people. Everyone's so comfortable. Like, everyone's kind of just dressed down and almost in their own little world doing their own thing, as opposed to in Atlanta. You can even tell my little time in Buckhead or my time running around outside, you can just see people trying. In Austin, it's like they're not trying, they're just being. And when you're trying to get someone to notice you or like you, but you're doing that by doing and having and being things that they like, not what you like. And
or that you think they like, because you don't really know if they do or not.
You don't. It just seems like it, because perception
is somebody's reality.
See what's going on back here. Programming and consumption, because I've now been off social media for 2 years, right? And that's Instagram, Facebook. I haven't had a Twitter since like 2013. No Snapchat. No, I don't have Threads. I don't know all the social medias. I'm just on YouTube, and I use YouTube almost like a learning library. So I'm doing interviews, I'm doing podcasts, I'm doing kind of documentaries, docuseries. I'm doing, my favorite page is CNBC. So the only news I ever get is CNBC. And I recommend this to everybody because they focus on business and the impact to society. So like if you look at all of their titles for their videos, it'll be why Starbucks failed, how Raising Cane's became a brand, how China is going through a real estate crisis, how will the U.S. housing recover, why Gen Z is winning the housing. They're going through kind of social, economic things, and they have experts that come and speak on, the trends, the history of why businesses happen, how businesses started, how they rose, when they declined, how competition came in. This is the type of stuff that adds context to the stock market. So if you're into stocks and you're into investing, a CNBC would give you some, I see how, I've seen a couple of videos of how retail businesses have competition. I can identify competitors. Gives you a one-up. Or let's say that you're more on the social side. It's like they have videos on the minimum wage. They have videos on how the U.S. has the highest average age in law. So how in government, the U.S. has, I think, like the average position is like 70-something years old. And that's so high. And they go through, through history, it's been lower. or in other nations, it's like this. So CNBC is a good resource, but because I'm on a very targeted feed of information on my YouTube, I don't really have an algorithm that throws memes. I don't have an algorithm that throws in that red pill stuff that now has the woman bashing content, or you have a clip that's kind of downing marriage, or you have a clip that's women talking about men and education, and it keeps all that negative stuff away and focus on, like you said, what you're actually interested in. So consumption, and I know you're not big on consuming a lot of opinion stuff either. Seeing that you watch MeTV and that you watch Andy Griffith and Westerns, and you throw on the news and you watch movies, but you don't scroll Facebook.
Mm-mm.
You're not just on places listening to people just say stuff.
Nope.
So consumption and controlling what you consume and kind of shaping your mind, the mental diet is just as important, if not more important, than the physical diet.
I think it's very important, and that's why we have such a mental crisis here now. It's because of the diet that we're feeding our minds with. And we don't realize that it's junk food until it affects us in the way it does. And then you find out, okay, too many of us still won't get help. Even when we realize we've crashed, we still won't get help. But I would encourage anyone to limit what they're allowing to come into their minds. You can control that. There are so many things you can't control. And I realize that in life, there's a lot of things you have no control over. But that you have control over, you need to try to control.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the few things you always hear me say, control what you can control.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of them. You can control the energy and effort that you give out, and you can control the energy that you take in. So that actually is a perfect transition into therapy. I want y'all to know I wish I had some confetti or something to celebrate my graduation. I graduated therapy. My therapist, I've been probably going to therapy on and off with 3 different therapists since 2017, maybe. And that's one of those where, like you said, when you notice you're crashing out, get some help. Sometimes you crash out and they force you to get some help. And you want to choose to get help before somebody forces you to get help. But this last therapist that I've had ever since I moved to Austin, actually, no, I had another therapist when I first moved to Austin. He was a crackhead. He was not the right one. I think I had 2 sessions, and then I want to say he didn't answer the phone no more. I hope he's okay.
Lord, he must, I don't know.
I hope he's okay. Because he said he was an ex-crackhead, but that X didn't seem like a capital X.
He said he was an ex-crackhead.
Yeah, but the X seemed lowercase, wasn't capital.
But on that note, I'm glad you brought that up because it's a stigma in the black community. Therapy is such a stigma in the black community, but it shouldn't be. I know you want to pray it out, but let's do a survey. Raise your hand if that didn't work. All right. I saw a lot of hands go up in my mind. And because it's more than that, sometimes you need some professional help. I mean, you go up to the altar, fine, you do that. God can do things, but God has provided all of the things that we need. The Bible says He's provided all things unto life and godliness. And in that, you have people that are trained and gifted to help in any area. There's somebody that covers every area of need. And I would encourage you to don't look at it in a negative way and don't feel ashamed. Sometimes we all need help. I'm pretty sure about 90% of the people that I know, including myself, needs therapy. And it's okay. It's not to be ashamed of. Take it because we lose so many people because they are ashamed to let somebody know that they're hurting. They're ashamed to let somebody know that they need help. Listen, we all need help. I think I said the other day, everybody's recovering from something. Mm-hmm. Everybody. So don't hesitate to reach out. Sometimes maybe your insurance don't allow it, but there's programs out there that will, that you don't have to have money. People are always willing to help people because we understand the importance and the benefit of it. I don't know what else you had to talk about as it relate to that, but I would implore you and tell you that you need to do that.
And I would just say, they say you date your therapist because you need to find out and get comfortable with the right therapist. So, like, if I was dating a therapist and it's an ex-crackhead, you probably don't date that person no more. So you find the one that's right for you. My therapist when I was in Atlanta was just right. It worked. I think with me, usually it helps to have or speak to a minority woman therapist. I don't know why that worked for me. Probably just because I am more comfortable with and talk to women a lot more so and open. But also, you have to be honest. That's the number one thing for therapy is you actually have to be honest about what's really happening, what you're really thinking and feeling, and then when you really slip. Because a lot of times we say, oh, we're perfect, we're doing good, everything's great. The therapist is going to kind of see through that. And honestly, if you want to just sit and lie to a therapist, they'll take your money to get lied to. You're not going to help yourself. Like, you're not going to get better lying to them. So you got to be honest about it. Because I've had therapists that I realized that one therapist I might have positioned my messages too good because by the end of therapy, she was saying, I wish my son was like you. And wait, hold up. I might not have told you enough bad stuff during these therapy sessions. So the next therapist you learn that, you be more honest with. And therapy isn't a lifelong commitment. It isn't I know you say expensive and insurance paying for. Like you can, like with the one I just graduated from, I like the term, she said that, but when I first started going, it was once a week. I did that for a month and a half, 2 months. Then it went to bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks. So you probably did that for another 3 months or so. Then it went to once a month. Probably did that for another 3-4 months or so. And then it's like the last session, which was last Friday. I was actually at Granny's house, and I forgot I had a session. So I ran out to the car. Of course, your therapy don't have to be in person. Technology, Zoom, all of these. Like my therapist is in Florida. I'm in Texas. So I go out on the Zoom and she's like, honestly, like we don't really have much to talk about. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open your case file. I'm going to list out everything that when we first did our first session, you said you were dealing with, there were issues. And then we'll just see if these are still issues. Go through the whole list. None of them have been an issue for 2-3 months. She's like, we don't really need to meet no more. I mean, I'm here ad hoc if you need something. If you find yourself slipping, if you just want to talk to somebody, always schedule a session, but it don't have to be regular. And that's what happens when you actually be honest and do the work and do consistently. It's not like you have to pay a therapist once a week for 5, 6, 7 years. If you do the work, you can just kind of graduate from that, and maybe later in life you need another type of therapy. You might need couples therapy, marriage therapy. You might have kids that you need family therapy. It's different stages, but it's not overwhelming. It's something that can happen. It's something that I would advise, like my dad, everyone to look into. Free, paid, insurance, group, recovery, all of these type of things. There's options out there, and all it takes is a Google search. If you want to, you will.
That's right.
Okay, so I think that's about it for most of our topics. So what's next? What's going on in the near to long-term future? And I'm thinking about everything that I'll have going on, and I don't really know what I'll have going on because I'm so simple. I'll just keep going to church, keep going to work, keep working out, keep playing golf, keep driving my car. I think it's interesting. I was telling you the other day, I was telling Daniel, first you got to obtain. So you need to get things. You need to obtain the education, obtain the experience. Then you sustain. That's when you build it. You make it more powerful. You make it stronger where it'll hold. So that's when you do the kind of leveling up. After you got the initial experience, you grow, you get additional search, you just kind of build your savings. You got the account, now build it. You got some investments, invest in them. And then the next stage is maintain. So that's when everything's built, everything's strong. You just need to keep it going. So I think now it's kind of in a maintain phase. So I don't know how much or what really changes from here on out. More of the same. I mean, if I want to, I can buy another home, but I don't really want to. I can keep buying cars, but I just got this car and I love it and don't really ever want to get rid of it. So I don't know what cars is up next. I'm not going to... It's only so much you can do in church. I'm in the small group. I'm doing the youth ministry. I would have led the small group this round, but I just finished small group, joining a small group, and then the youth ministry too. It's like you don't want to overload and burn out.
Right.
You got time. So I don't know. I guess what's next for me, and I like to say things and make things real so that they have to be real and somebody gonna hold me accountable to follow up is I think I'm gonna go back to school.
Okay.
I think it's PhD time while I ain't got nothing else going on, rather than wait 2, 3, 4 years and now I got a family and now work's extra hectic and now I'm trying to squeeze school in too. When all I got to do is go to work and play golf and drive my car, seems like that's the time to
That would be a good time.
good time. So I have to research programs and all because of course I'm gonna do it part time again because that's just ridiculous. That would be very gifted of me to throw all my salary away for 3, 4 years to go to school, load up on loans, and then come back to salary again. Is when I could just salary throughout school.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see how it works. So now we're maintaining. What's going on with you?
Well, we don't have anything going on with the church other than the remod we're doing right now and then the remod here. Other than that, we're just continually doing what we're doing. Working every day, the different Bible studies and different groups I meet with. And of course, Sunday school and church, just doing those things. And visitations here and there where you need to.
Just maintaining.
Just doing what I do.
So that would be the thing for y'all is obtain. You have to get experience. You have to get exposure. You need to just get out there and start doing life. Sustain. Build on whatever you get. Build on your experiences. Once you start something, work it. Grow it. And then maintain. Once it's there, as you can see, it's pretty easy. It's just doing what you do.
Yeah.
All that hard work, they always told me, work hard now, play hard later. So if you just do the hard work now, later you can kind of relax and play golf and drive your car and hang out and go to brunch and travel and do whatever it is you want to do after you finish the work now. Or if you haven't done the work already, start now. Work hard now so you can play hard later. The good thing is that always exists.
Yeah.
If you didn't work hard earlier, you can still
You
work
can
hard
do it
now. Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
You can do it. You can start today. Making the change, making a difference. And we talked about regret yesterday, so don't let that keep you because you didn't. You still can. And let that go. Because you can't do anything about what's been done. You can only do now what needs to be done and do it. It's not too late.
With that, we're going to sign off. Again, this is a product of Proverbs. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube. Feel free to reach out. Any questions, you need any prayer, just anything that you have that we can help with, shoot us a DM and we'll be happy to work with you. So with that, y'all be blessed and until next time.